Welcome to the Sounds Like Us podcast, where we speak to amateur artists, singer-songwriters, musicians, etc. about their musical journey. Today we are joined by a London-born and Margate-based singer-songwriter, Johnny Dee Sparkes. Johnny, good afternoon and welcome to Sounds Like Us.
Morning, Martin. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
For those that don't know, this is the third time that me and Johnny have met for the first time. So we've had issues with connections in the past and it's not quite working, and technical issues here and there, so hopefully this one's going to work.
Third time lucky, isn't it?
So yeah, third time lucky, man. Right, let's start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I'm Johnny Dee Sparkes, based in London for now at the moment. Going to be busking around London and Westminster for at least the next month. So yeah, born in London, also brought up a bit in Bournemouth, started playing guitar, my musical journey when I was 15. And yeah, I think wrote my first song when I was about 13 on piano. And just been playing, performing ever since, really. I've had moments where I've got into it, got out of it, but in a period at the moment where I'm kind of just trying to give it a lot of focus, hence the busking around London for the next month. Thought that'd be a good way to sort of build up confidence and also get good experience and hopefully make a bit of money from it as well.
Yeah, that's always a good plan, make a bit of money. That's what, it makes the world go around no matter what people say.
Definitely.
You can't pay your rent without it.
No, true. But like I have options to do other work as well. Like I have hospitality work, so it's not the main fallback. It would be great to just do that and that be the main thing. But the way I'm treating it at the moment is it's great if I get money, but more importantly, just the experience from it. And I mean, even though I've only done about 3 days of busking so far, because I've only just got it, it's a ton of experience and learning from it already, I would say.
Yeah, and you can have a bit of fun along the way and meet lots of different people, and you can get like different, connections that way and stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, I think just performing on the street is complete different vibe to performing in a pub where people might be sitting there and listening to you. You got to get very used to maybe people just walking past and really build on that performance wise. So.
Yeah, you've got very different kind of drunks on the street compared to what you get in a pub.
You do. But I mean, fortunately, I've been in Westminster, so they're all just kind of tourists at the moment. So there's like heavy footfall. So I haven't really had to deal with difficult people where I've been busking at the moment. So far. But we'll see. I want to try busking in loads of different areas as well. So
you've had the tourist drunks and you've had the posh drunks.
Yeah.
Westminster.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not going to lie, I haven't really had many drunks. It's mainly just tourists. But yeah, no, it's been all right. It's nice when people stop and you manage to draw some people in. I think, it can be quite tricky when you're in a place and you think, there's loads of people here, it's tourists, everyone will stop and listen. Like, as if you're in like a pub where people come there and they maybe expect music, and then loads of people just walk past. But I think it works on your ability to be able to try and engage with people and really commit to the performance and kind of zone out from not receiving that attention that you just was hoping for straight away, and to get more into.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure. So yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah, sounds good. Right, should we crack on with the questions then?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. So how did the music that your parents listened to influence you when growing up?
So my parents were on the rockabilly scene. That's how they met. My dad's a rock and roll blues musician, so he's always loved that sort of music. So whereas other people's parents from my generation might have been listening to more like ABBA and stuff like that, I had more of like Elvis, Bill Haley, Guthrie, a Little Walter from my dad's side especially. I mean, my mum liked that music, but she wouldn't necessarily like play it a lot like around me. She was more on the scene rather than I'd listen to it at home with her. Whereas my dad, he had vinyls and he'd get out vinyls on the record player and be like, listen to this. And so I guess you could say I had that influence from that sort of stuff. Actually recently just learned an Elvis cover actually and a Sam Cooke cover and feel like they've been going down well when I've been busking. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Return to Sender by Elvis.
Which covers? Okay.
So that one. And then by Sam Cooke, You Send Me. Beautiful song. It's like, darling, you.
Oh, that's a lovely song. Yeah.
Send me. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so, that's a gorgeous song, especially when Sam Cooke sings it. It's gorgeous.
The vocals on it.
I'll have to come in and listen to you sing it as well.
Yeah. And when my voice is on a good level, I feel like it sounds quite well.
Yeah. Apart from the ones you've just mentioned, were there any specific artists or genres you remember when growing up that made a lasting impression on you?
Yeah, so I remember my uncle, him showing me Gorillaz. And I would say I have quite an influence from Damon Albarn in general, from Blur and from Gorillaz. But that was the first of his stuff I heard was Gorillaz, the Demon Days album. And it's Feel Good Inc.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good
Feel
band,
Good Inc.
Gorillaz.
And that song was, too, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can you share how your background and the place that you grew up in shaped your musical journey?
Yeah, sure. So being born in London, obviously there's a big like grime rap culture around here. And my brother was kind of heavily into that. So listened to a lot of Eminem, 8 Mile, that's like all of that sort of stuff. So I think that's probably influenced the rhythm of how I write with my lyrics, being quite rhythmical and fast paced sometimes, having that rap and grime influence and listening to that sort of music. In Bournemouth, it was more like indie, to be honest, until everyone got to about like 16, and then grime started taking over the whole of the UK with Skepta and Stormzy, and Stormzy mainly promoting it, bringing it a bit more like to the rest and whatever. So yeah, that was more like indie alternative music, so stuff like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blink 182, pop punk sort of stuff,
Yeah. Did the environment you grew up in, like the actual place itself, influence your sound or your approach to music?
Well, as I said, yeah, with London and then with Bournemouth, I think it was more just through friends, really. So through friends and family. I would then say my auntie, so she was a local musician in Bournemouth. And I think going out and hearing her and hearing some of the other local musicians, that probably had more of a folk influence. So more singer-songwriters, sort of folk influence, hearing that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Were there any particular in Bournemouth, any sort of local music scenes or traditions that you remember? I mean, you were talking a lot about indie before.
There might have been. I mean, for me, my main source of music when I would go there and network with people was there was this open mic at the Chaplains and Cellar Bar, and that was pretty good for meeting new musicians around the local area, So yeah, that was probably be my main main hotspot for Bournemouth, and then same for London, really. That's how I've usually myself personally outreached and got to know other musicians and listened to more of the local music through those.
Is there a specific piece of music that sort of transports you to another time or place, maybe something that brings back vivid memories or emotions?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a bit random because obviously I've just said about indie alternative music and then Britpop, but it's the Claire de Lune, which is sort of like, I guess you could say like a bit of classical piano piece by Debussy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just something beautiful about it that for me, it feels like it's summing up the entire experience of a life. Like you're going on a journey through happiness, sadness, the crescendos, the way it builds up and then slows down.
Yeah.
A beautiful song.
Yeah. I'd have to check it out. I'm not massively into classical. You were speaking earlier about, your love of, you sort of brought up on rockabilly and you've got a love of grime and indie. What would you say out of those genres, who are your biggest influences and other genres as well?
Yeah, I'd have to say, with those talking about obviously influence for other people, how they've had that sort of influence on, for me particularly, my particular genres, it would probably be, Damon Albarn, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then the Beatles. The Beatles probably all time. I just think they're the best band of all time, in my opinion. Like, there's just so many songs I love by the Beatles, which I just think are great. I think they have a really good way of writing amazing, catchy songs, but somehow they all sound a bit different. I usually find some artists who I like a few songs by, but then eventually I just start hearing, I just feel like it gets a bit repetitive and feel like, oh, I've kind of heard this before. Whereas with the Beatles, there's so many songs where I just feel like they're all slightly different and they're all great and they're all still catchy. And brilliant.
Yeah, I think the way that they took a different approach to different songs on certain albums, they paid attention to how they grew as a band, I suppose.
They do, and they just write songs differently each time. Some songs are a bit more like your basic songs, like your basic 4-chord songs, and then some are a bit more like, have a bit more guitar picking in, and then they change the tempo, and then, they'll sometimes, it doesn't just go verse, chorus, bridge, verse, like there's maybe like a little bit in between, and their harmonies as well. I feel like their harmonies really add to it, so that adds like another dimension.
Yeah. Is there a process that you go through to work these influences into your music? Or is it like a more organic kind of natural thing?
I guess I try and do it. I find it difficult to write a song if I haven't got something to write about. It's got to come straight from the heart. Whenever I've tried to write, just write a song for the purpose of writing a song, I find it a lot more tricky. If I sit down and I think, okay, I want to write a song, but do I have something to write about? And then something comes, then it's a lot more natural. You know, I've got songs where it's a bit more like, got a song where like Sit Down Where Your Money Drops. That's more, I feel like that's a bit more of a focus on the vocals rather than the guitar, you know? It's just, that's more like meant to be like a little chant, you know, in that sort of way. Sit down, wanna look where you're, like a thump, like people are clapping and thumping along to it, that sort of thing. You know, and that was my aim with that one. Just a simple, it's a bit more like a street sort of thumpy song, where I've got Sipping Baileys, which is a bit more like sit up, baby, hold my hand, and you know, that's a bit more like your just catchy sort of love song. But then on the verse, I wanted to try and make it a bit more rhythmical with the lyrics, so it goes a little bit rappy. Then I've got Skimming Stones, which is a bit more rocky, and you can hear that on the guitar. So I guess each time I write a song, I try and make it a bit different with the music in how I play on the guitar, just to change it up each time. I don't want to feel like people listen to my songs and each one sounds the same. And then sometimes I'll change it with a structure. Sometimes there might just go verse, chorus, then something else. Sometimes there might be a verse, then a little bridge. You know, sometimes the verses might not be that long, and then it's a chorus, and then something else, and then go back to the verse. And I think just by doing that, it just hopefully makes it not repetitive, really, you know?
Yeah, so, keeps it interesting.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you remember the first piece of music that you ever wrote? What was it called?
Yeah, it was a song called Mundane. It was about being fed up with life. So before I could, it was me being a emotional, annoyed teenager. I just had an argument with my dad. I think I was about 13. And it was before, we've all been there. And then, it was before I could play guitar. So I just knew how to play a little bit of piano. And I just had an argument with my dad, and I went into my room where my piano is and just sat down. And I think, like, I tried to write music before, but as I said, I think because I just tried to write a song for the sake of writing a song, it didn't work. At that time, I was filled with pure emotion, and it came out quite well. You know, I still play it now. Obviously, it sounds a lot different on guitar than it does on piano, and I've added bits to it. But
can you remember how it felt to create something original for the first time? Like when you wrote that song Mundane, how did you feel when you first heard it back to yourself?
Like really, really happy. Really happy. You know, even though it's nice when other people approve your music, maybe it's quite arrogant of me, I don't know. But I really back myself when I feel like I've wrote a good song, you know? Like I feel like I know deep down myself if the song I've wrote is a good song or not. And there are songs I've wrote and then kind of don't do really now because I know they didn't really come as naturally. But the ones I still do, and that's one of them, you know, is I just felt it really came from the heart, and it's quite powerful, and it's different and unique, and you can tell it in how it's written. Like it goes, I'm tired, I'm fed up of this day to day, every day get up. And when I came up with that idea, I was like, that's so cool. Bam, 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 bam. And it does that on the guitars. It goes, jinga, jinga, jing, 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 like switch between the 3 chords. And I thought, that's a really nice progression that I'd just come up with, and was really happy with. Yeah, I would say the verse on that song is probably better than the chorus, to be honest. But the chorus, I think I forced out a little bit more, but still happy with it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you're happy with your songs, that's all we can ask for, especially if it's your first and you're happy with it. And I remember my first, I was like, no, I'm not playing that ever again. I haven't recorded it. I've got the words somewhere. I might go back to it one day, but
do you know what it is?
Not.
Sometimes I think it changes, like, it's also like how you perform it as well. I find that there are songs that I thought, oh, do you know what? It's not actually like, it doesn't sound that great actually, like the song itself. But then I found if I just changed how I performed it, or like the attitude I gave when I performed it, it can sort of deliver quite well.
Yeah, if you give it a different kind of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Do you recall the first time that you experienced live music?
I don't, but I imagine it probably would have been being my dad at a rock and roll gig. I imagine it probably would have been seeing my dad at rock. The first thing I recall, I think first music theme thing I probably recall. I used to do musical theatre when I was younger. Yeah, probably my first memories of seeing music live was probably like my auntie taking me to see Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat at the theatre in Bournemouth. So I do like a bit of musical theatre, and they're quite like, especially because in musicals as well, it can be quite cringy, but how they use the music is very clever, because the songs don't follow a standard verse chorus structure. It's more like the rhythm changes. It's very creative.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind the old musical. They're not too bad. What was the first actual concert you went to? Like that you knew wanted to go to, put the tickets and etc.
I'm trying to think. I put the tickets for. I know I'm gonna go see. Do you know what? I went to go see an N Dubs concert when I was younger.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mainly because my mum was, I think they've just got back. I think they had a period where they weren't really speaking, but was really, really good friends with the mum of Phaser from N Dubs. Dappy, Tulisa, and then Phaser. So yeah, his mum and my mum were really, really good friends. So we've been to a few of their concerts when we were younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I've seen N Dubs a few times. But I've met them as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite fun.
Okay.
Quite funny.
Are they cool?
Yeah, they're cool. They're
Are they
cool.
cool?
Dappy's quite a character. Yeah. So
Yeah,
fake.
I can imagine. You have to be a character if you're going to wear hats like Dappy wears.
Oh, definitely.
What was the first live performance you ever did yourself?
That would have been at the open mic at the Chaplains at the Cellar Bar in Bournemouth. And yeah, I think I got about so nervous. I think I got about 5 to 10 seconds through it, and then I just went, "I'm really sorry, I can't do this." Came back the second time, got through the performance, fortunately. But I think it was the fact it was on like sometimes them open mics in London, it's just like in the corner of a pub. It's not like sometimes, and it's not really that. In the Cellar Bar and the Chaplains, it's like on a stage and you're raised up a bit and the lights are on you. I think that I was just like, oh, so yeah. But as I said, I think it's part of the experience, and then after that, getting through those first initial stages is in.
Yeah, I mean, anyone's first performance, no matter who they are, surely they're just shitting themselves.
Yeah,
a little bit at least.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But at least you got on there and you kind of broke the ice a little bit, and that's the main thing, really.
And it's weird because I kind of feel like I'm
looking
going
back.
through.
Sorry.
Oh no, I just feel like I'm kind of, not to the same extent, kind of going through that a bit now with the busking. Because obviously I've been used to playing I've played in pubs and stuff, but I've not just played randomly on the street. But I'm plowing through it, and it's getting there, and I'm learning, which is good.
Yeah, you're a bit better armed with the the confidence you've done from the open mic and stuff. So that
definitely,
helps break the ice a little bit. Looking back, what would you say is the best performance you've ever done?
So I think last time I told you it was I Say Om, which was at the Moustache Bar, my gig at the Moustache Bar at Dalston. And that was really good because I was really happy with it because it's the first time I'd ever performed that song, because I'd only recently just wrote it. And it's also had quite a deeper meaning for me recently because I've got a lot more into my like spirituality and sort of better health and that sort of stuff, and meditation and like Hindu religion and listening to that sort of stuff. And this was like a song that was about me trying to connect with myself and with the higher power, and and so it's quite a deep song. And then on top of that, there's a bit at the end of the song where it's like I say, and I'm trying to get the crowd to say, "Oh," and it's good because they all started getting involved and saying it. And then I had a period where they're all saying it, and then I closed my eyes, and then I'm harmonizing on top of it, going and doing all these and it was just really, 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 really nice. It felt like I was connecting with people there, with myself, and and with hopefully with God as well. So it was a really
good
experience. So that was nice. And then probably more recently on the street, I think was one of my other songs called "It's So Hard to Please You," and I think I was quite happy with that, just being able to really get into the performance, regardless of the reactions of people around me. But then at the same time, sometimes having people stop, listen, throw a bit of money in. So,
is there a particular venue that stands out in your memory as a favourite place to perform?
There is, yeah. So the World's End, Finsbury Park. There's a guy called Luke Carey who runs these open mics. It used to be called the North London Open Mics. Now it's called the Open Mic Collectives. I think they've expanded the venues that they do open mics at. And one of them is at the World's End, Finsbury Park, which is on tonight, actually. So I might go down there tonight. Now I'm back in London, and I haven't been to one of his open mics in a while. But he's a lovely guy. On top of it, the host there being lovely and the sound system there being great, the stage it feels like you're in like an amphitheatre, the room. The stage is wide, and then it's like this wide sort of traditional architecture, So, yeah, great sound, great stage, great lighting, great sound system, great guy running it.
Yeah. Good crowd as well.
Yeah. yeah. I mean, in a sense of with that, from what I remember from it, it would only usually be like other musicians there, quite a few other musicians there, and if everyone's there to perform, it means everyone's there to also everyone engages with what's being played. So it's always quite nice. So
Yeah.
even if there's only like 5 other musicians there who've come to perform, they're all sitting there listening because they've all come to perform as well. So they all have an appreciation of wanting to listen to live music. So they're all there. We'll join in. We'll clap along.
Good supportive crowd then.
Yeah, definitely.
So what is your favourite all-time song to perform live out of the ones that you've written?
I mean, Sipping Baileys probably would probably be up there. In pubs. You know, I found doing it on the street not as well, but in pubs definitely. So that and the other one I mentioned a second ago, It's So Hard to Please You. That on the street, I think because I really go for it, it's quite an emotional song to me. You know, it's about, you know, being with someone, but you know, you feel like nothing you can do can sort of make them happy, you know? And yeah, hence it's so hard to please you. We've all felt like that at points, whether we're in a relationship or we just come out of one, you know? So yeah, and like, I think because of that, I'm able to really get behind the vocals on it. And when you're just performing on the streets and you feel like it's easy for people to just walk past, I'm able to really sort of project and throw it out there, you know? And make people stop and be like, what's going on over there? So that one. And then, yeah, Sipping Baileys, as I said, if I'm in a pub and people are just there and they're committed to listening because it's a catchy one and it's one where the lyrics, everyone can sort of join in on the chorus. It's quite easy to just follow along with. And you should get people clapping along at the end. So that's quite nice. And I just know it really well. I've done it for quite a while now. So yeah,
that's good. Have you done much in the way of recording? Spend much time in the studio or at home on the computer?
So recently, I went into the studio with a guy who I met through doing hospitality, who's a sound engineer. Been working on You'll Fit, Like It, Love It. So we've got the vocals and the guitar down, but I've said to him about going into the studio again. So he's a bit busy at the moment, but hopefully towards the end of the month, be going back into the studio again, getting some other stuff on top of it, like some harmonies, a bit of percussion as well. So yeah.
Good. Is there a song that you've written that carries a deep personal meaning for you?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, they all do in some way, you know. Sit Down When I Look Where Your Money Drops, I wrote a while ago, where I was quite broke and was being very poor with spending with my money. So I thought, I'll write a song about it, you know. And then what else? You'll Fit, Like It, Love It, and was about someone who I worked with, who I fancied, but I didn't have the courage to ever sort of really mention it to them. And that's sort of evident in some of the lyrics, you know. It's like, no, I'm hopeless at popping a question. You know, that's like, no, I'm hopeless at popping a question. It's just my nervous apprehension tension, just because I'm nervous, you know. You're So Hard to Please You. That's another one, you know, where some of the lyrics, so they all do in some way. In some of the lyrics. I mean, some of them, like, it's just sort of like a bit more generic and sort of just applies to normal situations, but some of them have specific words in them, which apply to situations I've gone through, I guess.
Do you feel like those songs have evolved over time?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I haven't changed the structure of the song, it's more I've changed how the attitude or the energy I give to the song. Yeah. You know, and maybe how I come across on the vocals, you know, sometimes going a bit more quiet or a bit louder or adding certain emotion to it. With Mundane, that's gone through quite a big change, as I said, because I wrote that originally on piano, added a lot more to it as time went by, changed it on guitar. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you think of a piece of music that made a major impact on you as a teenager or an adult, whether that's a piece you've written yourself or one that you've heard?
I would say,
like I would
say the By the Way album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's really good, you know.
That's a brilliant album. Yeah.
Brilliant album, you know. You've got songs on it which like Cabron, which is a bit more like this normal cheery song. And then you've got something like I Could Die For You, What You Wanna Do, boom, and that bum 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 bum. It's just, in my opinion, it's just a really nice progression, very clever. You know, and they've got that in a lot of their songs, you know, especially on that album.
Yeah, I went to see them live around the time that came out, supported by James Brown, incidentally. And yeah, they were really at the top of their game. My favourite song from that album was probably Can't Stop.
Can't Stop.
Yeah. And it's John Frusciante's guitar playing. He's one of the top 5 guitarists of all time for me. I just love him. He's
his
phenomenal.
harmonies as well.
He's a good singer. So when you write music, is there anything that you particularly think of, like a personal situation, a place, or anything?
I mean, sometimes it can be a person. Sometimes it can be just something about life or a situation. I've got I feel like it's really easy to write. Well, I feel like it's quite a bit easier to write songs about love, and I feel like that can be one of the first ones that come to mind. And I've got quite a few love songs, so I'm trying to write more songs that aren't about love and stuff. And that's been my sort of main more focus over the past year, 2 years, and hence why we sit down when money drops with Mundane. I mean, Mundane, to be fair, the first one I wrote was about love. That was about being fed up with life. Stay On, Skimming Stones, Snow Glow. I also want to try and I like to try and if it comes to write happier songs as well. I think it's nice to have a mixture of happier and sad songs. I feel like I don't know, me personally, probably other people can relate. It's easier to write songs where we're a bit fed up with life and angry and whatever, but it's kind of nice to try and write songs which are a bit more positive, So hence why I say I quite like that song, because it's quite a nice positive song for me. So,
it's got good energy. What is one of your most memorable sort of standout moments from a live show that you've done?
It'd probably be that one. The one I mentioned before, where everyone started joining in. So that was quite nice, I also had, I had an experience where I did a silly song ages ago. I think it's on my YouTube, to be honest. It's called Eggs, Beans and Tuna Sandwiches. I'm just trying to think what it is. Maybe like 2-3 years ago. Yeah, it's on my YouTube. And it was quite memorable because I didn't play guitar for it. The whole basis of the song was to get the audience involved in it. And it took a while, because it was basically just getting them to go, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, and then ooh, wah, ooh, wah. And then eventually got them to do it. But it took like a good minute and a half to get them to just, that this is how it goes. And then, and then to carry on doing it. And then on top of that, I think it was nice because I had them all doing that, and then I was just singing about eggs, beans, and tuna sandwiches. So yeah, that was quite nice. That was quite memorable.
Yeah.
It
sounds like a bit of an insight into your dietary habits.
Yeah. They've improved a bit now, but and people go to me, eggs, beans, and tuna in a sandwich, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like tuna sandwich and eggs. And
one's a start.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was separate.
Yeah. What was the first song or album that ever really connected with you on a deep level? Was that the Gorillaz one you were talking about earlier?
Demon Days, yeah, that album. But one particular album that stands out for me as well is the In Between Dreams by Jack Johnson. Yeah. I just think the whole album, all the songs are just so nice and lovely and sweet and just quite free from egos and stuff. There's just quite an innocence about them, Like one of the songs is called Banana Pancakes, which is just talking about sitting in and enjoying banana pancakes together with his partner, So, yeah.
I want to know where Jack Johnson is, He was quite big around sort of early to mid 2000s. Then he just sort of disappeared.
Yeah. I think he's not bothered, mate. I think he's made enough money, though. I feel like he's a person he gives the vibe, in the sense of he gives the vibe that he's quite chill. He's not too bothered about trying to be maybe really big. I can imagine him having had that success and just being like, do you know what? I'm quite content with having that success now. I'm happy to he probably still plays, but content with just surfing on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, he probably wakes up in the morning and goes, should I do a tour or make banana pancakes? Banana pancakes. That's what I'm going to do.
Banana pancakes and then go for a surf.
Yeah, definitely.
Chill out on the beach.
Imagine if we had that choice.
Oh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Oh, God. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Are there any other bands or artists you've enjoyed playing alongside or seeing live on the local scene?
Yeah, Cornelis Gerard, definitely.
Yeah.
Just nice guy, really good songs as well, catchy songs. Feel like he's a really good songwriter, writes good songs. Got a really good song I really like called Look Back and Laugh. But saying that, his other songs are really good as well, But that one, I remember when I heard that, and every time he plays it, I'm singing along. It's just a really nice, catchy song. Yeah. So yesterday through busking, I met this this band called the Vones. I say band, there was only two of them that were playing at that time, the guitarist and the drummer, but they were great. And do you know what? I feel like, as I said, just getting into busking at the moment and learning, that was a really big learning experience for me, seeing them perform, because they brought great. I mean, it helped, obviously, there's two of them, and he was electric guitar and a drummer, so it brought more sound anyway. But their energy, you know, especially the frontman, Marcelo, really good frontman, you know, really good at getting the crowd engaged, the entertainment while performing as well. You know, not only was the music good, just the performance energy. And I just remember sitting there thinking, this is good. It was like, made me think about myself and about how you need to maybe be performance-wise as well. It can't just be about the music, especially performing on the street. So, and as I said, their music was great as well. So yeah, the Vones, they were all pretty cool.
That's good. The Vones, that sounds good. I'll check them out. Right. So what does the future hold for you, both in the short term and the long term?
So short term, over the next month, I'm going to be busking. Yeah, just busking around, busking Westminster. Now I've got the license there. And yeah, trying to get more, hopefully get a little bit of money from it. But as I said, the main way I'm treating it is for experience and for confidence building and getting better at my performance and my performance ability. Because I feel like I'm fairly happy with my songs, but I just want to get more comfortable for performing. Probably work on some posts as well. I think I might work on home recording some stuff as well. You know, even though I haven't got any home recording equipment here with me, to be honest, I've just found before, I'm just going to give it a crack at just recording it through my phone, and then I've got different apps on my phone to mix stuff, so I might give that a go. And then, yeah, long term, as I said, I've been working on Your Bit, Like It, Love It, so hopefully long term, that should come out as well. Yeah.
Oh, good. Look forward to that. Right, and that brings us to the end of this interview. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been good. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for having me on.
Good. So, obviously, you got your busking coming up, so where can people see you for the busking?
Be around Westminster. What I'll do is I'll post it on my story when we go. But be around Westminster. Want to try out all different areas, to be honest. I mean, Westminster I was quite determined on because I just thought, it's quite tourist heavy and there's loads of people, but there's quite a culture around the busking spots, and it's quite always hard to maybe perform in those spots. And obviously you have to be in the spots in Westminster. You can't be outside of the spots. And then there's only a few amplified spots. And then, as I said, there's a whole routine and culture which I didn't realise of how you can perform there and the groups that perform there. So I'll still I still want to go down there every now and then. But I think I'm gonna try other boroughs around London where there aren't really any restrictions around it, and you can sort of just perform wherever really and find my own spaces. Yeah. But yeah, I'll keep it updated on my story, I think, from now on. If people want to come down, check out my Instagram, and I'll be keeping it updated on there for sure.
Okay, so talking of which, what is your Instagram handle and X.com as well?
Johnny Dee Sparkes Music. You just, my full name and then music should come up on Instagram, and the same on YouTube. Same on Facebook. I mean, to be fair, everything on my Facebook is just from my Instagram now anyway. But that's my Instagram, my Facebook. And my SoundCloud, if you want to check out the song I think you're going to play at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And what's that song called?
It's called Sit Down, Wanna Look Where Your Money Drops. Quite a mouthful. About trying to be careful with your spending.
We'll play out with Sit Down, Watch Where Your Money Drops. And Johnny Dee Sparkes, I want to say thank you for joining me today doing this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Sit down, wanna look where your money drops. Chip down, that's just sound. Make sure you're not going bankrupt. If you're broke, don't spend that pound. It's looking like a broke down weekend. I'm not sure what to buy again. I'm too short for a rap of the day. Guess I'll leave it today. And sit down, wanna look where your money drops. Think now what you spend in the shops. Many man lost the tens to a burner phone. Do you really wanna be that man? It's looking like a broke down weekend, but you still go out with your friends. Bottom dollar's gonna fall real soon, mate. Make sure you have enough to meet ends and sit down when I look where your money drops. Stop acting like you're rich when you're not. Let go of these pricey novelties. Just get what you need to achieve. It's looking like a broke down weekend, so stay at home, don't spend. Bottom dollar's gonna fall real soon, mate. Make sure you have enough to meet ends and sit down when I look where your money drops. Sit down when I look where your money drops. Sit down when I look where your money drops. Sit down when I look where your money drops.